for the Panthers at their optional walkthrough this morning. Obviously, he's not going to play tonight, but there was an update on his status and when he could potentially be back. So we'll have that for you coming up in a bit. I'm going to give you about 5 takes in the next 25 minutes. And, of course, the opening take brought to you by ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Opening take brought to you by ESPN Bet Sportsbook. So Brad Marchand spoke to the media today. The update on his health, he remains week to week. They hope he'll be able to play games towards the end of the regular season or at the end of the next month. Marchand, of course, as I mentioned, was at morning skate, did some drills, met a couple of the guys, said that it was somewhat awkward putting on a different jersey today. But what I wanted to get into was the 2 reports regarding Marchand and the Bruins and where they were on extension talks. The 2 sides reportedly were about $1 million apart in terms of average annual value. One report from Elliot Friedman said that the Bruins are at 6.3 and he wanted more. Personally, I'm glad they didn't come to that agreement. And then Spittin' Chicklets today, I know Paul Bissonnette had this. The Bruins offered Marchand 6.125, which is his current cap hit. Marchand's camp asked for $7.5 million. Biss went on to say, if that is accurate, I think the Bruins were not satisfied with his production and or leadership. Why else would they move on from him? I'll say it again. I think that money for Marchand's absurd, and I get it. There are veterans in the league making $4.5 million that don't put up the production that Marchand did this year. And again, a lot of things could contribute to Marchand's, struggles. But maybe he does play differently with Florida, if he even plays at all for that matter. But just that report, they wanted $7 million. They wanted a raise from what he just got. And I will say this, was he underpaid? I think he was paid just about right in the long run there. But if the difference truly was $1 million, I stand with the Bruins on this one. I understand loyalty and what you do for a franchise and things of that degree. But what was best for the Bruins was getting a future asset for a guy that potentially may not re-sign. The performance of Brad Marchand this season did not equate to a $7 million salary next year. It didn't. But today, Brad Marchand met with the media for about a half hour. And one of the things that stood out was he pondered about a return to the Bruins. And I know that Don Sweeney was open to it, but he said he doesn't know what the future brings. Maybe it's something that could come together. He also said he didn't have anything bad to say about the Bruins. He was here for a long time. The Bees management put the team in a position to contend and win, and they said that's all you want as a player. So it sounded like he liked everything that the Bruins did as far as competing. It was also clear that Marchand has regrets of the way the 2022 season ended. Their first round loss to the Panthers while setting a record in the regular season. His quote, "We definitely dropped the ball on that one. That was our year. Management went all in with the years leading up to that. And when you look at an opportunity like that, it doesn't come along very often." Again, crediting management for going all in. We didn't do our job and did not come through when we had to. That's the story of the Bruins, if you ask me. In the long run, I'll think of Marchand as a guy that had to play a certain style, but was really gifted. I mean, that guy was Mr. Shorty. When it came to shorthanded goals, he was one of the best. Marchand also said he didn't sound surprised that Bruins management opted for the big shakeup. He said he's not naive. I think you can kind of see the way things were going. When you don't reach those expectations, they make changes. He goes, every time this year we tried to do the right thing and change course, it just wouldn't come together for us. And unfortunately, sometimes things like that happen. He also said you try to control it. You try to do whatever you can. But everything was going against the Bruins this year. So I'm glad that he felt the same way as well. And that he understood why they made that move. One other thing I wanted to mention here, I mentioned it in the crossover. Linus Ullmark had a tremendous night last night. This isn't a drive the needle in because it hurts kind of thing. I'm not trying to do that. But the Bruins had to make a choice at the time. Ullmark, Swayman. I still think they could have held both. I do. But at the time, they did not want to pick up the $1 million roster bonus before a certain trade deadline. That's why they moved Ullmark. They also wanted the first-round pick, which they got. And it's Dean Letourneau right now, which I haven't looked, but the last time I heard a report on him, no goals. But Ullmark last night set a franchise record for Ottawa. He had 27 saves in the second period. He stopped 48 of 49 shots as they're in a little bit of a playoff run right now against Detroit. But Ullmark's played 8 consecutive starts. 8 consecutive starts for Ullmark. And this I wanted to bring up, too. He's the 6th goaltender in NHL history to make at least 27 saves in a period without allowing a goal. Just thinking about that out loud. When you see what Swayman, I got to give Swayman credit. He had a couple of nice saves the other night, but his season overall has been a disappointment. But when you look at it, Linus Ullmark potentially could get Ottawa into the playoffs and is one of the big reasons for the shift for the Ottawa. Whew, that's a tough one to swallow. Finally, before we hit the break, because I wanted to hit on a bunch of things tonight. The Red Sox, well, some news came out of camp today that's not so great. Brian Bayo will not be on the opening day roster. He needs to continue to build his arm strength. So he's not going to be ready until potentially early April. Trevor Story didn't play today. He's dealing with some sort of back stiffness or upper body something. And then Lucas Giolito, who's coming off Tommy John surgery, had an outing today and left with a hamstring injury. Not exactly the way you want to start things after hearing how great camp is. But do we have a Rafael Devers update at all? 3 things that came out of Red Sox camp. Today is the 11th. Their first game is the 27th. First thing that we've heard at camp that, as far as injuries go and missing time, not exactly what you want to hear. I do want to get into the Celtics win last night and just how they've been since the All-Star break and some more Patriot stuff. And what's going on with Tiger Woods? Tiger made some news today. We'll tell you what that is as we're here until 6:30. We got you covered. Bees, Panthers tonight. It is the, semi-return of Brad Marchand, although he will not be playing tonight. We'll take a quick break. I'm Joe Murray. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5.
wanted to throw in that Linus Ullmark thing. One thing real quick I wanted to just bring up. Things were a little quiet in free agency today, specifically for the Patriots. Jacoby Brissett is moving on. He is signed today with the Arizona Cardinals. I have not seen the money on Brissett, but good leader here. Did a lot for Drake May. Handled everything in a mature fashion. Really good leader. I'm wondering if he's washed. I don't know. But it wasn't good last year, that's for sure. The other thing is, last year he made $8 million with the New England Patriots. I was curious what the money was. I haven't seen anything yet. But that guy got the bag last year to... Hey, I don't think he was ready to go at the beginning of camp. I'll just tell you that. And I remember during the offseason, he was mentioning things to the degree of, I just got off the couch. I was playing video games. Also... there is a deadline regarding Cooper Kupp and his status with the Rams. They have until tomorrow. A bunch of teams have until tomorrow to release guys. Sounds like Aaron Rodgers may be released tomorrow. But Cooper Kupp's another one that will be released if they can't find a trade partner. This from Andrew Callahan of the Boston Herald. According to a league source, Kupp is curious about the prospect of playing in New England and has shared that curiosity with some close to him. Kupp has personal and professional connections to the Patriots, starting with ex-college teammate Kendrick Bourne. He's been an advocate for him to come to New England. The two remain friendly. Who would have known? They're using their connections with their coaches. Why not use their connections with their players? And all it will cost them is draft pick and bringing on some money. He's available. They're trying to find a top receiver. My thing is, where's the Ravens? Where's Buffalo? Where are some of these other teams that could probably give up a little bit more in draft pick and sign the extension? I got some Celtic stuff I wanted to get to, but let's talk to Mike. He's in Maine on the Bruins. What's up, Mike?
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Good.
No, you guys are up against it, so I'm like, I didn't really know exactly where to go. I wanted to call last week. I was a little busy, but I mean, this team had to clear house. If there was no... I don't know how obvious it was. I mean, it needed to be for people. Like, I understand moving on from a player who's been there forever, and probably a lot of people subconsciously the last time they won the Stanley Cup, I think if I'm not mistaken, he's the last player remaining. But I mean, the guys, these guys have been at it for years. They've never really gone anywhere. I was at Game 7 against the Blues. Like, that was the height of it. It was time to do it, time to move on. And I'm praying to God. I was hoping they were going to do this. I was hoping they were going to end up with a bunch of first-rounders, obviously, ended up with, I guess, potentially two. Please go after Brady Tkachuk. Get him out of Ottawa. He's not going to continue to rot up there. There's no chance he signs with them. Like, go just send the house for him. The salary cap's going up. You cleared off some salary. I don't love Lindholm, but he could be your second/third line center if you go and spend some money the next couple of free agency periods. You go add Tkachuk to put opposite of Pasternak, and I mean, let's go. Like,
yeah, listen, I'll just say this, Mike. After Ottawa with their big win and what's going on with Ullmark, man, I'm telling you, there might be, maybe they might be interested.
Happens. But think about this: who's Marchand playing with now?
Well, probably Bennett and Tkachuk.
No, right, his brother, right?
Yeah.
And Brad has nothing bad to say about Boston. The Tkachuks were just endeared in Boston during the Four Nations face-off.
You're right.
Like, go get this guy.
They have nothing to lose. Hopefully they got a secret stash or something like that to, throw some money to make some deals. You know what I mean? Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you, buddy. We're going to be talking a lot of... Listen, the Bruins, I don't know what they're trying to do. Maybe they're going for a playoff run here. I think they're closer to the lottery than the playoffs, but we'll see how it goes. Wanted to just touch on a couple of things regarding the Celtics quickly. They won last night. I don't care that they get out to 20-point leads and it gets close. Like, I don't care. You know why? Because they close games out. They close them out. I think there's one game where they had a big lead. They blew it. I know it was against Cleveland, but I blame the fact that Sam Hauser was getting torched all night long, and then Missoula went with Pritchard as the other option. So, that's how I feel about that one defensively. But how about Sam Hauser last night? 7 threes in the third quarter, 33 points. Guy's had a really down year. When I say down, been dealing with back injuries, just hurt his ankle recently. They haven't really been able to get into the rotation because of all the injuries that they had. But I wanted to bring up some numbers regarding the Celtics post-All-Star break. I mentioned Jaylen Browns are outstanding. Here's the team overall. In the first half, they're outstanding. Offensive ratings number 1 in the NBA. Defensive rating number 2. Their overall offensive defensive net rating is number 1 in the league. They're plus 23. No other team is north of 12. Here's the problem. They start playing with their food in the second half. Offensive ratings 20th, defensive rating 28th. They're -9 in second half. It's 25th in the league. That's something I'm looking into a little bit here, but they close them out. So I personally think they take their foot off the gas and they get bored. We also have a Kristaps Porzingis update. Yesterday, tweeted out, I've been dealing with a viral illness. We haven't been able to fully identify it yet. I'm recovering and getting better. Still working my way back to full strength to help this team. Thanks for the support. Hoping for a healthy return soon. So it is an illness. He has spoken about it. So wanted to just bring that to the table. And while the numbers are in as far as the ratings go, the Lakers and Celtics produced the most watched NBA regular season game in the last 7 years. Wow. Celtics-Lakers is good for the NBA. The Lakers and Luka Doncic, good for the NBA. Star power is still there. People will still watch it. So for all the people that talk about the ratings and maybe the Celtics are the reason why the NBA ratings are down, sorry! That was the most watched NBA regular season game in the last 7 years. So don't give me the Celtics are boring and Tatum's not a superstar. Stop. Out. One more football note, if I may add. The Patriots offered Chris Godwin $30 million a year and they turned it down. He turned it down.